Today is January 22nd. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I'm an alcoholic, and it is a thrill and a joy to be with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today we'll be reading Into Action. That's Chapter 6 of the Big Book, pages 76 through 80. And we will be reading Chapter 4, Step 4 of the 12 and 12, pages 46 and 47. So guys, with that, let's get into the Big Book. All right, guys. So yesterday, we talked about Step 6, actually Steps 5 and Step 6 into action. Now we're jumping right into Step 7. This is the second paragraph on page 76. When ready, we say something like this: My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have then completed Step 7. Now we need more action, without which we find that faith without works is dead. Let's look at Steps 8 and 9. We have a list of all the persons we have harmed and to whom we are willing to make amends. We made it when we took inventory. We subjected ourselves to a drastic self-appraisal. Now we go out to our fellows and repair the damage done in the past. We attempt to sweep away the debris which is accumulated out of our effort to live on self-will and run the show ourselves. If we haven't the will to do this, we ask until it comes. Remember, it was agreed at the beginning that we would go to any lengths for victory over alcohol. Probably there are still some misgivings. As we look over the list of business acquaintances and friends that we have heard, we may feel diffident about going to some of them on a spiritual basis. Let us be reassured. To some people, we need not and probably should not emphasize the spiritual feature on our first approach. We might prejudice them. At the moment, we're trying to put our lives in order. But this is not an end in itself. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be a maximum service to God and the people about us. It is seldom wise to approach an individual who still smarts from our injustice to him and announce that we've gone religious. In the prize ring, this will be called leading with the chin. Why lay ourselves open to be branded fanatics or religious bores? We may kill a future opportunity to carry a beneficial message. But our man is sure to be impressed with a sincere desire to set right the wrong. He is going to be more interested in a demonstration of goodwill than in our talk of spiritual discoveries. We don't use this as an excuse for shying away from the subject of God. When it will serve any good purpose, we are willing to announce our convictions with tact and common sense. The question of how to approach the man we hated will arise. It may be he has done us more harm than we have done him, and though we may have acquired a better attitude toward him, we're still not too keen about admitting our faults. Nevertheless, with a person we dislike, we take the bit in our teeth. It is harder to go to an enemy than a friend, but we find it much more beneficial to us. We go to him in a helpful and forgiving spirit, confessing our former ill feeling and expressing our regret. Under no condition do we criticize such a person or argue. Simply, we tell him that we will never get over our drinking until we have done our utmost to straighten out the past. We are there to sweep off our side of the street, realizing that nothing worthwhile can be accomplished until we do so, never trying to tell him what he should do. His faults are not discussed. We stick to our own. If our manner is calm, frank, and open, we will be gratified with the result. In 9 cases out of 10, the unexpected happens. Sometimes the man we are calling upon admits his own fault, so feuds of years standing melt away in an hour. Rarely do we fail to make satisfactory progress. Our former enemies sometimes praise what we are doing and wish us well. Occasionally, they'll offer assistance. It should not matter, however, if someone does throw us out of his office. We have made our demonstration and done our part. It's water over the dam. Most alcoholics owe money. We do not dodge our creditors. Telling them what we were trying to do, we make no bones about our drinking. They usually know it anyway, whether we think so or not. Nor are we afraid of disclosing our alcoholism on the theory it may cause financial harm. Approached in this way, the most ruthless creditor will sometimes surprise us. Arranging the best deal we can, we let these people know that we are sorry. Our drinking has made us slow to pay. We must lose our fear of creditors, no matter how far we have to go. For we are liable to drink if we are afraid to face them. Perhaps we have committed a criminal offense, which might land us in jail if it were known to the authorities. We may be short in our accounts and unable to make good. We've already admitted this in confidence to another person, but we were sure that we would be imprisoned or lose our job if it were known. Maybe it's only a petty offense, such as padding an expense account. Most of us have done that sort of thing. Maybe we were divorced and have remarried but haven't kept up with the alimony to number one. She's indignant about it and has a warrant out for our arrest. That's a common form of trouble too. Although these reparations take innumerable forms, there are some general principles which we find guiding. Reminding ourselves that we have decided to go to any lengths to find a spiritual experience, we ask that we be given strength and direction to do the right thing, no matter what the personal consequences may be. We may lose our position, or reputation, or face jail, but we are willing. We have to be. We must not shrink at anything. Usually, however, other people are involved. Therefore, we are not to be the hasty and foolish martyr who would needlessly sacrifice others to save himself from the alcoholic pit. A man we know had remarried. Because of resentment and drinking, he had not paid all of his alimony to his first wife. She was furious. She went to court and got an order for his arrest. He had commenced our way of life, had secured a position, and was getting his head above water. It would have been impressive heroics if he walked up to the judge and said, "Here I am." We thought that he ought to be willing to do that if necessary, but if he were in jail, he could provide nothing for either family. We suggested he write his first wife admitting his faults and asking forgiveness. He did, and also sent a small amount of money. He told her that what he would try to do in the future. He said he was perfectly willing to go to jail if she insisted. Of course, she did not, and the whole situation has long since been adjusted. Before taking drastic action, we might implicate other people we secure their consent. If we have obtained permission, have consulted with others, asked God to help, and the drastic step is indicated, we must not shrink. Okay, guys, so we'll stop there on page 80 of the Big Book. And now we will make our way to step 4, page 46. We'll be reading pages 46 and 47 today. So in yesterday's reading, we talked about the instincts run riot, and we talked about how pride in reverse works. Now we're going to jump right into the heart of step 4. At this stage of the inventory proceedings, our sponsors come to the rescue. They can do this, for they are the carriers of AA's tested experience with step 4. They comfort the melancholy one by first showing him that his case is not strange or different, that his character defects are probably not more numerous or worse than those of anyone else in AA. This the sponsor promptly proves by talking freely and easily and without exhibitionism about his own defects, past and present. This calm yet realistic stock-taking is immensely reassuring. The sponsor promptly points out that the newcomer has some assets which can be noted along with his liabilities. This tends to clear away morbidity and encourage balance. As soon as he begins to be more objective, the newcomer can fearlessly, rather than fearfully, look at his own defects. The sponsors of those who feel that they need no inventory are confronted with quite another problem. This is because people who are driven by pride of self unconsciously blind themselves to their liabilities. These newcomers scarcely need comforting. The problem is to help them discover a chink in the walls their ego has built, through which the light of reason can shine. First off, they can be told that the majority of AA members have suffered severely from self-justification during their drinking days. For most of us, self-justification was the maker of excuses. Excuses, of course, for drinking, and for all kinds of crazy and damaging conduct. We had made the invention of alibis a fine art. We had to drink because times were hard or times were good. We had to drink because at home we were smothered with love or got none at all. We had to drink because at work we were great successes or dismal failures. We had to drink because our nation had won a war or lost a peace. And so it went ad infinitum. We thought conditions drove us to drink. And when we tried to correct these conditions and found that we couldn't to our entire satisfaction, our drinking went out of hand and we became alcoholics. It never occurred to us that we needed to change ourselves to meet conditions, whatever they were. But in AA, we slowly learned that something had to be done about our vengeful resentments, self-pity, and unwarranted pride. We had to see that every time we played the big shot, we turned people against us. We had to see that when we harbored grudges and planned revenge for such defeats, we were really beating ourselves with the club of anger that we intended to use on others. We learned that if we were seriously disturbed, our first need was to quiet that disturbance, regardless of who or what we thought caused it. Okay, that is the end of our reading today, guys, concluding on the last paragraph of page 47. So while the 12 and 12 is fresh, one thing that stands out to me is what usually the sponsor would say. When I was really struggling with self-loathing and everything like that, the person I worked with was he was very objective. He was never shaming about anything. Like I said yesterday, he was really the perfect person to talk to. He knew how to make me feel comfortable and fearless enough to tell him everything. Because again, half measures avail us nothing. I had to tell him everything if I really wanted to stay sober. At least that was the way it was for me. And then going back to the big book and going back to excuses. Oh my goodness, I would make excuses to drink all the time. All the time. A good day, hey, let's celebrate. Bad day, oh, let's numb this. It was funny. And then there was something else yesterday where they talked about how we would drink to numb the pain and the self-hatred. And then while we were drinking, we would do more things to cause pain and self-hatred. So go figure. There's that spiral of insanity that just was absolutely out of control for me. And finally, I love the line in Into Action, we clean our own side of the street. Buddy, I have used that motto in my mind so many times. When I get tempted to take somebody else's inventory instead of my own, I go, wait a minute, Rob, you got your own problems. Let's work on those. That's something you do have control over. And that kind of falls right in line with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I can't change the way other people are. But God, please give me the courage to change what I can. I can change how I'm going to respond. That's helped me in all sorts of areas of my life. These are just these spiritual tools that really helped me over time. And I'm so grateful for them. And I'm so grateful for you guys for tuning in today. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me in this lifeboat of recovery. And it is an honor to be here. Truly, I've read the big book and the 12 and 12 many times, but to read it out loud and to do this, it's really changing me, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful for you to be here too. I hope you all have a great day, and we will see you back here tomorrow.